I'm here with you today to talk a little about the weapon that I think is the worst weapon for Scout all time in Team Fortress 2. It may even hold the title of worst weapon overall, and that weapon is one you probably rarely see, and that is the Sun on a Stick, which looks pretty cool, but is altogether pretty useless. It crits burning players at the cost of a 25% damage penalty, which, just to get the math out there, that is 26 damage per hit. Rather than 30 damage per hit, and it crits to do 79 damage. Fun fact, it can crit randomly in addition to critting burning players, which you might not initially expect. It is not like the Extinguisher, which can only crit burning players. But I'm here to talk to you about why this weapon is such a bad weapon, particularly for Scout. The reason is, there's not a circumstance that makes this weapon beneficial without you going out of your way to make it beneficial. What I mean by this is it requires you not only to have a pyro on your team, but to have a pyro adjacent to you who is lighting people on fire that you can then crit with it. And specifically, it has to be a player who's on fire that is easier to kill with a Sun on a Stick than your scattergun. And being perfectly honest, it's almost always going to be easier just to kill them with your scattergun. You'll notice in this video I do get some kills with it, but there are no points in this video where I see someone who I would benefit especially from killing them with it, as opposed to if I was just using the stock bat. If I was using the stock bat in this video, I would be just as successful as I would have been if I was using the Sun on the Stick, which I was. So I think this weapon is poorly designed, not just a poor choice of weapon, because I don't think there should be weapons in the game that require you to rely on another class to be successful. And currently there are no weapons like that other than this one. Every other weapon, you can rely on yourself to set up a situation that will make it useful. And this weapon isn't like that. So I think the weapon ought to be changed because it's such a weak weapon, and unpopular weapon, mind you. Some things that I've thought of that would make it more interesting are, A, if it crit players who were burning, but also if it crit players while you yourself were burning, because then you wouldn't have to rely on being around a pyro, stalking them, looking for ways to pick off people who are on fire. Instead, you could take advantage of the fact that you are on fire, which will probably happen more often than you run into an enemy on fire. Another thought I had was that it could light players on fire. I don't think that would be good for the game, because you don't want, scouts lighting people on fire. I don't think anyone would really enjoy that. But if they did do that, things they could do to make it fair would be, it would light the player that you hit on fire, but also light the scout using it on fire, so there would be, a huge drawback to it. Another thought is that while you are on fire, maybe you would get a huge movement speed or jump height bonus. Just anything, really, different than what it is, because currently the weapon is unusable. Well, let me correct myself, not unusable, just really, really bad. You could use any other bat and do just successfully more than 9 times out of 10. There's almost never a circumstance where this bat is going to be better than another bat. And the whole point of the game, having a diversity of weapons, is to have weapons that are sometimes better than other weapons in circumstances. And this weapon doesn't have a circumstance that, meets that priority. Anyways, that is all I have to say about this weapon and why it's so bad. I will see you all next time.